The UDA Kenya Kwanza government is very rapidly running out of time. What do you mean, Chris? What are you talking about? Are you serious? They have state machinery. They're controlling everything in government. They're in power. How can you say they're running out of time? Okay, let me explain. You see, there's one very critical factor that keeps a government in power that the UDA administration has not been able to acknowledge or recognize. And my apologies because I keep going back to Moi. But Moi was wise, despite the fact that he was a dictator. Moi recognized this thing I'm talking about so well that when pressure mounted for multi-party politics to be reintroduced into the country, and it became a song in virtually every home in the country, including the homes of the vote-rich Mount Kenya region, Moi shocked everybody by suddenly conceding and saying, yes, let's have multi-party back in Kenya. Of course, later, in a press briefing, he let out his true feelings and he told Kenyans, multi-party it our choma, and he said it so bitterly. Anyway, my point is, Moi saw it. Now, there's a very huge cry right across Kenya right now, and that cry is about electoral justice. Very few Kenyans believe that Ruto actually won the elections. Chebukati told us he did, together with 2 other commissioners. 4 other commissioners said no. But that's all water under the bridge now. So this cry is right across the country. And it is very deadly because it is being carried by another cry right across the political divide, that the cost of living is too high. And so what some people are saying, this government, which we are not sure was elected by us, has gotten rid of food subsidies. Other countries have them. The cost of living is too high and they don't seem to care. Don't fool yourself. Baba is popular. But the momentum carrying Baba now is beyond his popularity. Okay? It stretches into people who are very much against Raila just the other day, but are now standing with him because they are fed up. So let me tell you this thing that keeps governments in power. It was even recognized by the colonialists. The thing that keeps governments in power are a people divided. People on this side want this, people on the other side want something else. But woe unto you if you're a government when all the people are united with one voice. This is what happened in 1991, 1990s actually, and climaxed in 1991 when Moi was forced to say, okay, I concede, we'll reintroduce multi-party democracy. You see, what a lot of Kenyan analysts have failed to realize is that what keeps a government in power is not state machinery. It is the people. And in many instances, people divided. And therefore the leadership in power remains the compromise. But when people are how they are today in Kenya, add farmer into that, and the crises which are not ending, sijui foreign exchange hakuna, sijui famine, sijui what, then you know you're in a deadly situation. So coming back to what I started with, the UDA government seems not to have realized what we've just discussed. And now it seems they've realized, when it's very late, that they're running out of time. They must address, not Raila, these Kenyan people united together in one voice. Not the small group of supporters or sycophants. No. Not by holding events, stage managing events to show their popularity, ferrying people with buses to a meeting of the president. No. They have to swallow their pride and address the vast majority of Kenyans and address their concerns. That one they must do. If they don't do, you know what's going to happen. Serikali ya Ruto kwisha maneno. And you can go back in history and study each and every case. Even very tough, strong military governments with all the military machinery in place countrywide have been brought down by the people. The Roman government, which ruled the world in the days that our Lord Jesus Christ walked upon this earth, knew this fact and were very wary of it. They warned all the appointed leaders, including the leaders they appointed over the Jews. We don't want to hear of any unrest amongst the people. Tukisikia unrest, unaenda nyumbani. Na pengine pia utatoka kwa hii dunia. They were very tough concerning that. And that's why all leaders were frightened of any small problem involving the people. But the Romans were very tough. They were strong. Their military might ruled the world firmly for many years. And I guess it's also because they knew this very simple truth, which seems to have escaped the UDA government and the decision makers there. Uhuru Kenyatta or his advisors also recognized this simple truth, and that's why he made the decision to swallow humble pie and go for a handshake with Raila Odinga in March 2018. And so with that information, let us review the current state of our nation called Kenya. For some strange reason, instead of addressing the people and the concerns of the people, yes, voiced by Azimio and Raila, but they could have very easily ignored Azimio and Raila and addressed the issues. Okay? Now, of course, opening the servers will be suicide. Yeah, because I'm guessing the results in those servers do not favor UDA. So let's put that on aside. People have been talking about the cost of living. There are things they would have done to address that very quickly. For example, the introduction of food subsidies. You have to bring down the prices. These stories, allegations about corruption with the subsidies money, is neither here nor there. The Mwananchi is not really interested. What the Mwananchi is interested in is seeing the food prices come down. So if the food prices come down and there's some dodgy things happening concerning that food subsidy, the Mwananchi is not interested. He's interested in affordable unga. Period. Corruption has been with us since the birth of Kenya. Not that it's not serious, but hiyo tutadili naye ni kishiba. And so for some very strange reason, UDA politicians are focused on Raila and Azimio. Raila this, Raila that. The price of unga is still high. Raila this, Raila that. People are still suffering. In my opinion, the obsession with Raila is going to finish them. Hey, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Unless somebody has something personal against Raila. Hey, this is politics. Allah. Now Monday is at our doorstep. More Azimio protests. And already, the entire world has seen how the government is handling these constitutional, peaceful protests. The world has seen how the police deliberately provoke violence. Indeed, just the day before yesterday, Raila revealed to us that actually there is a plan to go beyond that. and introduce some UDA people to mingle with Azimio supporters and cause chaos. I don't know if you're noticing that things are just piling up against UDA. Their time is running out. And in my view, they're not using their time properly and wisely. They should be using their time. They should have used their time, because there are those who believe it is already too late. They should have used their time to focus on the ordinary mwananchi and what the ordinary mwananchi in Kenya is going through. Had they made just a little effort there, it would have been very easy to break Azimio's momentum, because some mwananchis would have stepped back and said, no, things are okay for me. Things are not so bad for me. So count me out of the protests. That is what should have happened. But look at the situation today. People are desperate. We have too many people in Kenya who have nothing to lose. That is often very deadly for any government. And now the latest is that Ruto is going to leave the country and will not be here on Monday. He'll not be here on Tuesday. He'll not be here on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday, of course, will be the second day of the Azimio protests. They're protesting Monday and Thursday. Now, this is super fascinating. In 2018, when Raila was being sworn in, January 2018, Uhuru Kenyatta was not in the country. I suspect then it was a precaution, because nobody knew what was going to happen. Indeed, very interesting, at that time, NASA, the opposition coalition, was talking about marching to State House. Yeah, how things never change. So this time round, we have a Monday, which everybody is very tense about, and Ruto will not be in the country. The advantage of that, of course, is that if things go very south for UDA, Ruto can say, I was not there. I was not there. Gachagua messed up. Okay? Let me fix it.
Please allow me a quick reminder to grab our special Mapabano offer for the weekly intelligence briefings. Details on your screens right now. Please rush, the offer is ending very soon.
Until next time, this is Chris. Kumekucha.